also know that the Queen is pissed off with Zuma because Zuma abandoned her and went to BRICS. And since Zuma cut off the Queen and went to BRICS, the UK is pissed off with Zuma. And I believe that the UK's media is intentionally selling a narrative to the people of South Africa so that they will rebel and revolt against Zuma in interest of the agenda of the United Kingdom. What I'm saying is if Zuma was doing what the Queen wanted him to do, all of the newspapers in South Africa would be reporting favorably on Zuma. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. If Zuma was doing what the Queen wanted him to do, if he was still being her flunky, I promise you, none of the South African newspapers would be reporting negatively on Zuma. None of them would be. So although he's made mistakes, I also see him trying to get a little bit of elbow room to do what he knows the ANC should have always been doing. Because the ANC has not been on a job, and I respect the ANC.
Welcome everyone to another epic episode. My name is Jacob Zuma, and I'm here just to have a conversation, right? There's this video that I saw, and it sparked something in me very interesting about how we South Africans, we are so brainwashed by the media to an extent that we end up believing a propaganda. And we believe this propaganda as if these are facts, these are the truth. And we will run with them and start attacking others and start preaching them and start talking about them, right? So the greatest poison that we have in our phones, in our TV screens is the media. The influence of the media is just something else, and the media is just one machinery that can be used as a tool to run a very proper, well-oiled machine propaganda. That is the media. So Dr. Omar Jensen saw the video speaking something about Jacob Zuma, to say that Jacob Zuma went against the Queen, right? We know the Queen has passed. Now we are dealing with Charles the Third, which is now the monarchy of UK, right? The United Kingdoms, right? So one will ask himself, how did Jacob Zuma turn against the Queen Elizabeth, right? So now it is very clear. It is very clear to understand. South Africans, you can't be a president in South Africa without acknowledging the authority, the power, and the supremacy of the Queen of the United Kingdoms. You can't. Now people were accusing Jacob Zuma to say, yeah, but he went to the UK, he went there to see the Queen and so forth. Because you can't be a president without acknowledging the authority and the power of what the Queen is to South Africa. Right? Now the big question on the table is, was it only Jacob Zuma who went there to see the Queen? It was not. What about President Cyril Ramaphosa? Did he go there to see the Queen? Yes, he did. Right? What about former President Thabo Mbeki? Did he go there to see the Queen? Yes, he did. What about former President Nelson Mandela? Did he go there to see the Queen? Yes, it did. Seems like now this thing is tradition to our president. You can't be a president without acknowledging the power. Even the upcoming president, the next president that will have, the first thing that he will do after taking the presidency, he will go to UK to see King Charles III. He will go there definitely, because it is by law and by rules that you must follow this trend. Otherwise, you won't be a president. It's either you sacrifice to become a president, or you are out. Because this is a system. We always thought, or we are told, this information, wrong information, that the number one of the country is the one that is in authority and make decisions, right? But the truth is, presidents are puppets in the highest order. They are being used, especially manipulated by capital, by those who have powers beyond them, right? And if they disapprove of you to become one, you will not become a president. Even though the people can protest and burn things and what, as long as the capitals, those who are in charge, they see that this is not our man, you will not be elected. Because those who have power are those who are in the position of what? Of money, right? So Dr. Omar Johnson, he's is an American, I almost said South African. He's an American activist, he's a psychologist, and he is a motivational speaker. So he goes around the world talking about against the white supremacy, against the white rule, right? And motivating black people to say that, no, be in charge, you are not inferior, right? You two guys, you are superior. Like, believe in yourself and just go out there. It is very funny how he can be very informative about this, but most people here in South Africa, they are clueless about what happened between Jacob Zuma and those who are running South Africa. For instance, if you take, there's a video whereby Johan Rupert was asked if he hates Jacob Zuma, right? And you know what Rupert said? He says that, no, I don't hate the man, but I hated his actions, right? So one will ask himself, what actions did Jacob Zuma possess or had that made Rupert to be so very angry? So now I want you to watch this video, then I will make a comment after it. Let us watch this.
But these comrades have provoked me and other people. Not only them, some other people had said things. For an example, one day, Comrade Mbalula attended an activity in the farm or home of Mr. Rupert. And when Rupert saw him, he said, Minister Mbalula, when that happened, he was the Minister of Sports. If Zuma takes out remove Pravin Gordhan, would shut down the economy of this country. We must go and tell him. And indeed, Mbalula came to tell me. I said, but what he has to do with us? I didn't know that he's a member of the ANC to decide how the ANC must deal with these matters. What is his problem? I said, go back to him to say that's his problem. But he said, we'll shut down, we'll make the rent flat on the ground.
So now former President Jacob Zuma makes something very obvious. He said that there was an encounter between Johan Rupert and Fikile Mbalula, right? So seems like Mr. Rupert had a message to send to Jacob Zuma when Jacob Zuma was a president about to fire Pravin Gordhan, right? So now Mr. Rupert seemed like he was not happy about the decision because he was not informed, and he had ties with at the time Pravin Gordhan, right? But now Pravin Gordhan was set up there for a reason, for a purpose. But now when Jacob Zuma wanted to remove him, now it became a problem. Now Fikile Mbalula, when he first came out to say this, he said that he had talks with Johan Rupert, and Johan Rupert told him that tell that boy Zuma not to fire Pravin Gordhan. At the time, Jacob Zuma was a president. So imagine the whole businessman, respected businessman, calling a president a boy. Tell that boy Zuma not to fire. It was a command. It was a clear command to say that no, we are in charge, and he must remember that he is there. He's a boy, right? So to these people, whether we are a president or what, to them you will always be a boy, because they are in charge. They are in charge of capital. They are in charge of power, and they are connected with some very influential and powerful people around the world. So either you abide by their rules or you are out, right? But now the greatest weapon that they will use just to tarnish your image is the media. The media is the greatest weapon, and it is so very sad that we who normally reports about these things, and the journalists who report about these things, and the media who reports about these things, they sometimes, or most of the time, push a very certain narrative and a propaganda against some systems or certain individuals. If you disobey these powers that I'm talking about, they will go against you, right? There is the Citizen former journalist called Stephen Mudale. Stephen Mudale came out and exposed their journalism, exposed the media as a whole, as a system, especially the propaganda that they had against or with Jacob Zuma. Let us hear what Mr. Mudale says here.
Judge Hilary Squire's judgment. You know, after the judgment itself, we in the media peddled lies that the judge said Zuma and Sheikh had a corrupt relationship between the two. It took the judge himself, in a very, very unprecedented move, to clear himself. And this is my point. When the judge did that, he was ridiculed in the media because he was telling us what we didn't want to hear. That this is not what I said. Go and do your homework. Instead of doing introspection, we went for the judge. He was cartooned. He was the Mambara of the week. The reason being, he was telling us something that we didn't want to hear. And these are the same people who claim to be messengers of truth. Yeah. How can we portray ourselves as messengers of truth when we are allergic to the same truth that we claim to be portraying? Yeah. That is my point. And even after the judge had cleared himself, we still went on with the lie of this corrupt relationship between Zuma and Sheikh.
Why did you do that then? If you feel that, I mean, we're talking back in 10 years ago, we're talking. That's 2005. We're now sitting in 2015. It's taken you 10 years to admit to this. Have you been pressurized by the ANC?
It's not about the judgment itself. I used Jacob Zuma as an example of how we peddle lies. Yeah. And our unbias. And our bias. I just use President Zuma. Let's look at Nkandla itself, for instance. You know, I was on another TV station last night, and a youngster, Stephen Huertas, boldly said Zuma spent 250 million on his private Nkandla home. You know, he's stating it as a fact. Yeah. Where does he? What is the basis of his argument? Can he really point to Zuma's involvement in Nkandla? This is what we are trying to do. Yeah. Hence the Public Protector's report, the SIU report, and the minister's own report. Nothing so far. Look, I admit, and everybody, the ANC, everybody, we in the media, there was wrongdoing in Nkandla. But the fact of the matter is, we want to go at all costs and link Zuma to that. It's not yet coming, but we have painted the guy as having been the mastermind behind the corruption that went on there. Yeah. This is unfair.
So I know that to many of the people, this is a pill that is so hard to swallow, right? Because there are so many things that has been said about Jacob Zuma, which are not true, right? There are so many things. Let me make an example, like for what, right? So now there's a state capture report, right? State capture case that is happening. It has happened for more than 20 years. It is not coming. It is not coming to an end. It is always continuously being postponed, right? And you know what's funny? The person who bought the arms, which is former President Thabo Mbeki and former President Nelson Mandela, right? They were the ones who were in the forefront in buying the arms, right? But now, former President Thabo Mbeki says that there is no such things as the arms deal. Do you disbelieve me? Let us watch this video here.
The defense of government. First of all, you know, I've been trying to say to everybody, there was never an arms deal. There was never such a deal. You know, when people use that phrase, arms deal, that means something crooked happened. You entered into a deal. So I've been trying to say, please, can you stop saying this thing about an arms deal? There was no arms deal. There was a defense procurement. Now, as you will recall, soon after the government had approved the preferred bidders, the controversy started.
So the media is very dangerous, and they play one of the biggest role in terms of delivering news to the people, right? But now it seems like what they are delivering is poisonous, because you will remember how when they write about Jacob Zuma, they will say they will always include the word corruption, thugs or thieves, right? But they will be just name dropping him to badmouth him, right? Even though you can be seen taking pictures with them while you're a businessman, they will say corrupt deals. They will write something. They accuse the thieves, the comrade, the stealing. They will say something that will just tarnish his name, right? And you remember that guy who used to draw Jacob Zuma, who goes by the name of Zapiro. Where did he go? Where did Zapiro go? His Zapiro has disappeared. He's not drawing he's not drawing anyone. He's not drawing politicians anymore. He's not drawing President Ramaphosa or Paul Mashatile or Gwede Mantashe anymore. He's drawing none of the comrades. He's silent. He's speechless. Remember how he used to expose Jacob Zuma and even drawing him with his private parts open. So would you personally agree to say that no, this man was working for WMC, White Monopoly Capital? No. On my other video, I did explain that there was a time when Jacob Zuma extended to his presidency. He did work with them. That's why he was seen with the president of Orania. I explained it. But on Jacob Zuma's, when he was about to finish his first term, going to his second term, he turned against the establishment. He went against them. Then the media started to be harsh on him, attacking him about this Gupta thing, right? As if we didn't know where did the real estate capture originates from. That the real estate capture was from the Oppenheimers and the Ruperts, right? First things first. The Oppenheimers and the Ruperts, they fund all the political parties, almost all, maybe 95% or 99% of the political parties. They fund everyone. Is that legal? Okay, it's legal, but for what purpose? Why would they do that? In terms of, we know how politicians, they react to business and to capitalists. That is why globally, now most governments are being captured by capitalists global capitalist, right? If Johan Rupert will come and command on which minister to be fired and to be hired, it means that even himself is capable of a state capture, because he's controlling a president, let alone calling a president a boy, right? And do you think, be honest, do you think if Jacob Zuma didn't turn against the establishment, the white monopoly capital establishment, and stick to be Johan Rupert's boy or Nikki Oppenheimer's boy and continue to acknowledge the queen and the prince, do you think Jacob Zuma, the media, will be reporting as they are reporting today? Do you think Jacob Zuma, the media, will be talking about the Guptas as they are talking about the Guptas today? No, but because there's a narrative that has been pushed, there's a propaganda. And people here in South Africa, they take whatsoever the media is delivering to them and they believe those things. That is how the media is so powerful and influential and controls the minds of the people, right? Now, as we speak, there's that VPS agenda. Now they've linked the EFF with the VPS situation without having any proof. And Julius Malema has been explaining that there is no proof. This is a propaganda. While the real culprits, the real people who ate the money to collapse that bank are the ANC comrades. But the media, because they are running a certain narrative to be against those who do not agree with the white monopoly capital, then the media is being used as a weapon to attack those ones. So that the people on the ground will just view these ones as the worst villains, the worst enemies of the people ever, right? So people in South Africa, they will have to watch out for the media. That is why you have these spaces like YouTube's, TikTok, X, and Instagram and other social medias. That is where other people, they will resort to, because they see what, this thing, this thing is a propagandist. We better be aware of these things, so that when it comes to election and choosing our leader, we will choose right and capable people, not people who will be serving the masters who are against black people, right? Because at the end, the masters are using now these leaders against the black people. We better watch out. South African, please leave your subscription here. I'm out. I'm done. Until we meet on the next video, and